All right, morning after the Derby. Got the battery hooked up. Had a couple plug wires that were off, but I got those reconnected. I did verify the engine does turn over by hand, so let's see what we got. Oh, hell yeah. It runs once again. Win the Derby last night. A little bit of work, should be ready to go for another one. And here we are, day after the Derby here in Munger, back at the Wall Racing original shop in Munger. Taking a look, and we did a little bit of surveying into the carnage this morning to see what all happened. I think the worst damage was on Dad's 123 van. It really messed up the front frame on the front here. It's bent a little bit everywhere on this guy, even behind the strut. And this one we think is terminal. It actually busted the cradle on this one, and as rusty as this van is, it's not super worth fixing on this one, so this one's probably written off. And then, of course, busted the radiator open. This might actually be my fault. I thought he was the other red and black van on the track, and of course I, track shotted him in the passenger front here, and then after I was like, oh, shoot, wrong guy, and found that. But then down here, actually busted the alternator bracket clean off the engine block, so that's in rough shape there, among some other small things damaged. I think this one probably would still run, but the front frame on it's pretty messed up. Could we fix it? Yeah, probably. Is it worth it? Probably not on this one. So Dad just wanted to try a Derby one more time and really sent it on this one. From about the doors back, it's still in pretty good shape in this one. He had a great time, and I enjoyed running with the boys, and actually did reasonably well. I think he placed about 5th in the Derby before busted tie rod, and I think he said his just stopped running on him, got hot. Back end did a little bit of work, and we did an experiment with this one. We both had bumpers on Mike's van and on my van. Since the bolts were rusty, I didn't feel like taking it off and busting every nut in the process. But he ran his without a bumper on the back, and to be honest, they do about the same thing, whether you have a bumper on or not. So your choice whether you want to save the rear of these for the front of another car or keep it on there and run it. But this one did all right. Another stow and go van, kind of buckled in that rear seat well like they all seem to, and all the wheel wells held up pretty well in this one. Interior is all pretty well intact. And really not too bad. There's quite a few driver door shots between the three of us. We all kind of took those at some point. We know that there are some other more veteran drivers out there who know that the weakness of these vans is the front tires. They just kept going after them relentlessly and ended up busting the tie rod, I think on this side, on this one. Don't know if you can really see it in there, but yeah, you can see it's busted in half. That's why the front tire's all sticking out, and ultimately took Dad out when the radiator was busted open and couldn't really steer anymore. So Mike's van, the old 948 here, well, 38, his ended up not doing too bad. He went and drove like classic Mike and went hard right off the starting line and started blasting people and making some friends on the track right away. So naturally they went after his front wheels. The whole back half of his van looks about the same as it did before. Is already pretty well mashed in here as compared to, say, the 123 van. It was already packed in pretty good. And once these all fold in like that, they really don't move a whole heck of a lot after. And a couple flat donuts, of course. I flattened both of mine too, so those things just don't last. But he thinks the transmission went out on it. On the track, he thought a CV axle broke, and they're still intact on this guy. The passenger side one's kind of the weak link since it's a mile long on there. But neither of them seemed to be broke this morning as we were taking a look at it. Nothing really interesting under the hood on this one. Bumper's kind of messed up on the corner there. But yeah, he thinks the transmission went out on his because the fluid's super dark and burnt smelling. My theory, that's kind of how my van was before I built it. It smelled all burnt and terrible, and I did a fluid and filter change, and then it worked good as new again. So I'd probably throw that at it personally before tearing the transmission out. But that one will be fixable. This one's probably junk since that front frame's messed up. This side's bent too, but not near as bad. It's tweaking a little bit in the left front here. Then my van, the old Mystery Machine, actually held up pretty darn well. Structurally, it's pretty straight front to back. I was a little bit leery since I started going after people with this front bumper right away, and knowing how they last on the back, as you'll see on mine, and then on Mike's van. These are actually the rears off of these Caravans, and they could take some abuse, but not infinite abuse, and I definitely use this one. It's got some nice dents in it, but actually held up okay. It's completely stock, other than having it hard-nosed to the front of the frame here. As you can see, there's no work that we could really do to these other than getting it welded on. You're allowed a 4x6 plate on the top. Mine's just a 3x6. It's what I had laying around that wasn't incredibly thick that I could bend easy to the contour I wanted. And mine, everybody went after the front tires, but everything held up okay. And I got 2 bent struts to fix. You can see that one's tweaked. And then the other side is also tweaked. And then I think it's on this side. It's hard to get to. Yeah, this one's really bent on this side. See if that'll focus. And then the steering is really messed up on mine. I don't know if you can really see it from your angle here, but that tie rod is kind of a U shape on this side. I actually had brand new ones in the truck. I didn't have time to change before the Derby, but luckily I'll be putting those to work now. And this one, I actually ended up wheeling it down and winning the Derby. So made it all the way to the end in old 96, the Mystery Machine for this one. I thank my wife Gwen and her friend Ellie for painting it up and making it one of the crowd favorites. Looking good out there. And flattened both donut tires, so I need to borrow some from my brother Mike to get that fixed up. This quarter panel, this all sorts of blew apart, which is surprising because it is actually like the one parts of this fan that are not rusty were the quarters. The rest of it, like the rockers, are pretty much completely gone on this thing, and springs barely hanging in there, but it held up all right. And my brother is telling me, if you're driving a van, you got to be a bully, and it's all about using this end of it. It's the strong end that, everybody else doesn't want to have to run against. And stock bumpers end up just being and splitting in half in the middle, so this is essentially the same thing that's on the front of mine. And hammer down in reverse, they can only take so much abuse before you flatten them out and bust them in half. So caved in pretty good. I imagine eventually he'll do something similar to Mike's van. I'll have to address this quarter panel to figure out what to do with it. Oh yeah, a bonus at winning the Tater Festival show. You get a box of tubes for your tires, so I'm sure I'll get a lot of use out of those. I got a couple flats from the bump and run car that I need to fix, so those will get put to use right away. Pretty good little prize for Derby guys. Everything's still looking good on the inside here. It was running really hot. I think the radiator fans actually did not turn on at all during the Derby. I still had the stock wiring all plugged in on these. And I don't think they ever did anything, so I might hot wire those before I run these again. And what else? It was completely empty on coolant. As you can probably see from the video, it steamed for quite a while until it was pretty much empty and running rough at the end. 2 of the plug wires actually fell off, and one was laying across the header on the back, so it was burned through pretty good. Still ran even if it was on 4 cylinders, so good enough to take the victory at the end. And looking to get this one fixed up now. So won the Derby on night 1 of Potato Festival. This is day 2, where it's going to be front wheel drive figure 8 for stock and modified class, and then big car Demolition Derby, which is always kind of one of my highlights of Potato Festival. And tomorrow is a figure 8 only night. It'll be the big V8 cars again in action, stock front wheel drive, modified front wheel drive, And this car is actually built to the same exact rules of the stock front wheel drive. So I'm going to try to get her fixed up, and we'll go out and do some figure eights with a vehicle that's not super practical for it at all. So we'll have a blast. One of my buddies, Richie, actually had some brand new unboxed struts for these, so I just got to swap over the springs. We got the fancy compressors for that, and get her ready to rip for night 3 at Potato Festival. 1 win in the books. That's already a highlight for the weekend, running with my dad and brother. Honestly, never thought that ever happened, but it's one of the career highlights now, being able to run with both Dad and Mike. Dad, not sure if he'll ever try one again, but it's cool to be on the track with him. And Mike, I'm sure we'll share the track once again. He's bested me every time up until this, so I'm sure that kind of friendly rivalry between us will continue. All right, so that'll wrap it up for now, and we'll catch you again when we hit the track again with this guy.